Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are taking a definitive shortcut right into the drawing rooms, the ballrooms, and the brutal financial realities of Jane Austen's Georgian England.
Right. Our mission here is really to mine this analysis of Pride and Prejudice.
Exactly. We want to understand not just the legendary romance, but the high-stakes economic game it's governing every single action, every rejection, every eventual marriage.
It's the engine of the whole story.
It is. We're giving you the deep, distilled knowledge of why this novel still matters so much.
And that's absolutely essential for this dive. I mean, you have to look past the witty banter,
Yeah.
past the pretty gowns,
Mm-hmm.
and recognize that Austen's world operates under this iron law of material necessity.
So while the novel gives us the romance in the end.
It does, but the text is constantly reminding you of the crushing reality that was facing women, especially women of a small fortune.
And it starts right away, doesn't it? With that instantly recognizable opening line.
The truth universally acknowledged.
Yes, that a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. It sounds like this quaint social observation.
But for the Bennet family, it's not quaint at all. That universal truth is masking a very, very real economic terror.
Okay, so let's get into that. What is the financial cliff they are staring over?
Well, the Longbourn estate, their home, is entailed.
Which
Which means it has to pass to the closest male relative, who is, of course, Mr. Collins.
Yeah.
So the second Mr. Bennet dies,
The house, the lands, everything they have.
it all vanishes. The 5 daughters, they're left with just the interest from their mother's original legacy.
And how much was that?
It was £1,000.
£1,000 for 5 women. What does that actually translate to in, annual income?
Well, shared between them, you're looking at an income of maybe £40 a year each.
£40. I mean, to put that in context for you.
It's barely more than what a well-placed servant might earn. To live even a modest life as a gentlewoman, you'd need closer to 100, maybe £150 a year.
So £40 a year isn't just being poor.
No, it's a complete collapse into genuine poverty.
Yeah.
They wouldn't just be poor, they would be completely unable to maintain their status, their connections.
Any chance of marrying out of that poverty would be gone.
Exactly. Their whole identity as gentlewomen would become, well, unsustainable.
And this context, it completely reframes Mrs. Bennet, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
She's so often portrayed, in films as this ridiculous, nervous woman just obsessing over marriages.
Constant.
But if you actually view her through the source material, her frantic, her obsessive behavior, it's entirely justified. It's reasonable.
It's pure survival. Her daughters are facing ruin. They could be forced to become governesses, which was, almost socially lethal at the time.
Right. So her panic makes perfect sense. Her one tool is her daughter's potential marriages, and she uses it aggressively.
Because her husband, Mr. Bennet, often just doesn't seem to grasp the danger.
He doesn't. He's detached. So her behavior, for all its lack of decorum, is driven by the reality that her sole business in life is securing a future for 5 girls before they are left with nothing.
Which sets up that central conflict so perfectly. Because Elizabeth Bennet is the rebellion against that whole system.
She is. She demands the romantic ideal. She wants love and respect.
So she rejects Mr. Collins, and at first, she despises Mr. Darcy.
But the novel gives us this devastating counterpoint. Her close friend, Charlotte Lucas.
Charlotte is maybe the most tragic character in the book, but also the most practical.
She's the living embodiment of compromise. At 27, which was considered quite old.
But time was running out.
It was. So she consciously accepts Mr. Collins. Not for love, obviously, but because marriage is, and this is the quote, the only honorable provision for well-educated young women of small fortune.
And that other phrase, the pleasantest preservative from want. It says everything.
It does. It encapsulates the sacrifice. Elizabeth sees it as a moral failure, that Charlotte sacrificed every better feeling to worldly advantage.
It's a brilliant contrast. Charlotte chooses security, and Elizabeth holds out for everything.
And the novel makes you ask, is Elizabeth's idealism a luxury? Is it something she can only afford because she's young and witty? Charlotte's quiet, tolerable life with Mr. Collins is this constant, somber reminder of what Elizabeth is fighting to avoid.
That's a great point. But could you argue that Charlotte's stability gives her a different kind of freedom? She's no longer in that terrifying hunt for a husband?
That's the nuance, absolutely.
Yeah.
She chose a practical, manageable contentment over the profound fear of destitution. She manages her situation pretty intelligently, actually.
How so?
By basically minimizing contact with her awful husband. She gains independence from financial fear, which is something Elizabeth doesn't really understand until much later.
And that difference in how they see the world brings us to another key theme, right? How Austen measures intelligence and character.
Yes, often through literacy and conversation.
Elizabeth and Darcy, they're immediately set apart. They're sharp, witty, their verbal sparring shows their depth.
Right. Their ability to have an intelligent, introspective conversation signals that they have real substance. And Austen uses reading as a kind of shorthand for character.
So Elizabeth and Darcy read. That means they have depth.
It suggests depth, independence of thought, yes.
Yeah.
And then you see the opposite.
Who are the characters that reveal their superficiality through this?
Look at Elizabeth's sister, Mary. She tries to be intellectual, but it's all pretension. She reads constantly, but can't apply any of it, so she's just tedious.
And Caroline Bingley.
Oh, a perfect example. She only pretends to enjoy reading when she thinks it'll impress Mr. Darcy. She literally makes reading a performance.
A calculated move. But true depth can't be faked. What about Mr. Bingley himself? He's a good guy, but the text notes he does not read either.
And that tells you something. Bingley is kind, he's pleasant, but he lacks Darcy's intellectual rigor. He's agreeable, but he's easily led.
Which is exactly why Darcy is able to separate him from Jane.
Exactly. It's a very clever, very fast way for Austen to show you who has real substance and who doesn't.
This intellectual pride, especially from Darcy, sets the stage for that infamous first meeting. Darcy arrives at the Meryton Ball. He has a massive fortune, £10,000 a year, which is just staggering wealth.
He's walking financial power. And his pride is instantly on display as class snobbery. He glances at Elizabeth and just dismisses her.
He tells Bingley she is merely tolerable, but not handsome enough to tempt me.
It's the perfect crystallization of his arrogance.
Yeah.
Just pure entitlement.
But Elizabeth's reaction is what makes her the heroine we love. She has that lively, playful disposition.
She's not crushed.
Not at all. She turns the story into entertainment for her friends.
She converts the insult into humor, which shows she's his intellectual equal, even if not his financial one. But that resentment, it really hardens into prejudice when she meets Mr. Wickham.
Ah, Wickham, the charming con man. Elizabeth is just immediately taken in.
Totally. The sources say he could make even the commonest, dullest, most threadbare topic sound interesting.
And her dislike of Darcy just clouds her judgment completely. She buys Wickham's story hook, line, and sinker.
She does. This polished tale about how the cruel, proud Darcy robbed him of the living that Darcy's own father had left for him. She's completely convinced.
Her prejudice makes her morally blind, but the truth, which we get in Darcy's letter later, is so much darker.
So much darker. The reality is that Wickham was given £3,000 in cash to leave the church and study law.
She just squandered.
Completely. On a life of dissipation. And then the most damning part, when he was in debt, he plotted to run off with Darcy's 15-year-old sister, Georgiana.
And why? For her massive £30,000 inheritance.
Exactly. He was trying to steal a fortune from a child. The scale of his villainy is just, it's breathtaking. And Elizabeth's failure to see any of this is what leads to Darcy's disastrous first proposal.
Right. He's still completely blind to his own arrogance. He proposes, but it's more about her inferiority and the degradation of her family.
He doesn't propose to her, he proposes despite her.
And in that same letter, where he reveals the truth about Wickham, he also defends separating Bingley and Jane. What was his reasoning there?
Well, it was twofold. First, he said he believed Jane's calm demeanor meant she wasn't really attached to Bingley. He accused her of hiding her great strength of feeling.
She was too composed.
Yes. But his bigger objection, and this is the one that really stings, was the total want of propriety from her family.
Mrs. Bennet, the youngest sisters.
And even Mr. Bennet occasionally. He was right about their behavior, but the way he delivered that truth was just incredibly arrogant.
And that impropriety finally comes to a head, doesn't it? When Lydia, at 16, runs off with Wickham.
This is the moment where Elizabeth's idealism just crashes into reality. This one act jeopardizes the marriage prospects of all four sisters, the taint of family reputation.
The shame is total, and Elizabeth feels the justice of Mr. Darcy's objections.
She does. And this is where the real character shift begins. The tide only turns when she's on a tour and accidentally ends up at Pemberley, Darcy's estate.
And the most important person she meets there isn't actually Darcy. It's his housekeeper, Mrs. Reynolds. Why is she so important?
Because she's an external, unbiased witness. She gives him a flaming character, she calls it.
Describing him not as a snob,
but as a generous master, affable to the poor, and completely devoted to his sister. She's a loyal servant. She has no reason to lie.
It's the perfect narrative device. Elizabeth realizes her entire perception of Darcy was built on prejudice.
Right. And she has that famous moment of self-realization. Till this moment, I never knew myself. She sees her own pride was just as blinding as his.
And the final proof of Darcy's change comes when she learns what he did about Lydia. Secretly.
He finds them in London and takes on the entire moral and financial burden to save the Bennet family.
So what exactly did he do?
He had to deal with Wickham, the man he despises most. He paid off all of Wickham's huge debts. Then he secured the marriage and guaranteed Lydia a small income.
All to save the family of the woman who had already rejected him.
And he insisted her family owed him nothing. It's a display of humility and generosity that just completely shatters her old prejudice.
And the final irony is that Lady Catherine de Bourgh, of all people, helps them get together.
It's incredible. She shows up at Longbourn to forbid the match, thinking she can bully Elizabeth.
But Elizabeth's refusal to back down.
That refusal gives Darcy the hope he needed. He realizes her feelings must have changed. The ultimate figure of social arrogance becomes the unwitting matchmaker.
It's perfect.
And it leads to Darcy's final, profound moment of humility. He tells Elizabeth that her rejection, it taught me a lesson. She says, by you, I was properly humbled.
So when we pull it all together, what's the deep dive takeaway here?
I think it's that the novel is this masterclass in moral and social correction.
Both of them had to overcome their own pride, their own deceptions, before they could find real affection.
Exactly. It teaches that true happiness requires both social prudence, that's Charlotte's hard lesson, and the courage for real self-knowledge, which is the journey Elizabeth and Darcy take.
They balance pride with humility and prejudice with, well, true perception.
And Elizabeth gets the impossible dream.
She does. She's happier even than Jane. She gets both love and 10,000 a year, the whole package.
But here's the final provocative thought we have to leave you with.
Okay.
Well, the novel ends with this great triumph, love and fortune. How often was that actually possible in Austen's world?
Not often.
The crushing financial necessity that forced smart women like Charlotte Lucas to settle for quiet misery over utter destitution. That was the norm, not the exception. The novel gives us the ideal, yes.
But it never lets you forget the incredible sacrifice and the incredible luck required to achieve it.
And how many failed to make that leap?
An enduring classic that hides a ruthless economic lesson beneath a beautiful love story. Thank you for diving deep with us today.